Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and I have a very cool ongoing surprise value deck to share with you. Now, it is a surprise value deck, but it's also just really actually powerful, especially with this Invisible Woman buff that happened, a little while ago now. 3 power, she's really good. But before we get into the deck, I have a sponsor to share with you today. It is Raid Shadow Legends. You've probably already heard of Raid Shadow Legends. It is a mobile game that is completely free to play, and it has hundreds of different champions from varying factions that you can unlock and take into battle. There's many ways you can play the game. It's very casual friendly, but there's also PvP game modes. There are tournaments that you can participate in. There are boss fights that you can overcome, and there's a great deal of depth in the strategies and builds that you can customize for your champions. The champions have some really awesome designs, and of course there's huge variety between each of the different factions, so you can carefully choose which faction you'll ally yourself with. I recently unlocked Wuji, so this is going to be my go-to champion for the time being. I think the top 3 coolest champions in this game have to be Foley from the Dark Elf faction, Gaius the Gleeful from the Knights Revenant, and the good old Orc Rohak the Bloodied. All very, very cool, I must say. Call of the Arbiter is in full effect right now. There's a special limited series event with Raid adding some entirely new characters to the game. For example, you've got Artak, who's a mighty orc. But what's super cool about this is that you're going to be able to get him for free, completely free, if you log into Raid for 7 days between now and July 24th. So what are you guys waiting for? If you're a new player, you can use my link down below or scan the QR code that's been on screen the whole time, and you'll get a free starter pack with some cool in-game loot as well. So thanks a lot to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to the deck. So, what are the cards that we're running in this particular deck? Well, we have a lot of ongoing cards to benefit from the Spectrum on reveal that we can always play on turn 6 as one cheeky option for the deck. If we need to spread strength around in an even manner, that Spectrum can buff all of our cards up. So we have a lot of ongoing stuff. We have the Invisible Woman to, protect us from Enchantress. That will not hurt the deck too badly. And it will also mean that we can surprise the opponent with things like Mr. Fantastic, Omega Red, Iron Man, Klaw at the end of the game. These are cards that will be very unexpected for the opponent to deal with once they're flipped, at the end. Often people will think you're maybe playing Hela deck or something if you, don't play some of your more interesting cards like Namor and things like that before turn 6. But yeah, we have lots of options here. We can go for lines where we play out Namor, and we play out the Orka, and we take 2 locations that way. We can win a location with Iron Man, maybe with the Invisible Woman. We can split our strength around in a very cheeky way with Klaw and Mr. Fantastic, and maybe a Spectrum. Make it very hard for the opponent to predict where exactly our points are going to fall in the game. We even have Ebony Maw in there for a bit of just raw power that you can play in the Invisible Woman location, or you can alternatively play it alongside an armor for a turn 3 10 power play in one location, which you can then even buff up with Spectrum. I have Killmonger in the deck to counter 1-cost cards from the opponent. There's anti-synergy there with the armor. You could, of course, consider cutting the Killmonger if that's not your cup of tea. I think it's quite cheeky and quite powerful. God, I've said cheeky a lot this video already. I mean, this deck is very cheeky. You can do a lot of very spicy things with it. Other than that, we just have Lizard for ongoing value. We typically want to play the Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic mid, so try to keep that in mind if you do play this yourself. But yeah, it's a fairly straightforward deck. Not one that you really see ever played, I feel like. But with this Invisible Woman buff that she's received, it's actually quite powerful, I think, quite a considerable deck to play or run up against. Anyway, I would rate this, I think, an 8 out of 10. I would say it's pretty damn strong. There are some things that will beat it, but I think if well piloted, it's a pretty decent one to go with. With that being said, let's get into some gameplay. Okay, let's get into the game. Bit of Sakaar action to start with. That might be good for me. Yeah, we're pulling Iron Man, okay. You love to see that. And the opponent pulls a Wasp. Okay, I mean, it interacts well with Iron Man, I guess, but definitely a pretty good pull for me. The question is, how do we benefit from this Iron Man? Do I want to play Invisible Woman there? Into Ebony Maw? Do we want to do Ebony Maw plus armor? and save the Invisible Woman. I feel like Invisible Woman in this Iron Man location is quite strong, and then we just try to take a, you know, second location with the Orka or something like that. Just going to play the deck as it was intended to be played. Do we want to go Ebony Maw Armor? It's quite strong. If we put those cards in the Camartage, that'll give us a pretty strong backbone there. Protected from Killmonger as well. It will mean my Killmonger, I might be giving the opponent some protection with the armor, which, you know, is never a great thing to be doing. But I think I will go for this play. Trying to keep my strength spread a little bit. Make it difficult for the opponent. Should probably be going with a snap here as well. I've got the Mr. Fantastic, which is really nice in this spot. I'll go with the snap. The opponent's not showed us really very much. Probably seems like they'll want to retreat after this bad Sakaar pull. Get a lot of value from having Iron Man already on the field. But no, they're playing a Dracula. I forget this interaction. Oh my goodness, guys. I need to remember how Bifrost works with the face down cards. I always forget how that works. Well, that's a bit of a pain. I mean, it's not the end of the world by any means. But it is going to mean my Orca is, you know, a bit anemic. It is what it is, guys. I tend to make misplays, don't I? Fairly often. Let's just go Killmonger Lizard and try to finish up with the Orca. I hope that it'll be enough. I'm a bit afraid of the likes of a Hulk coming and just winning this location, honestly. But I think we'll be okay. I did mess up, certainly not having... Wow, this is an optimistic play. I mean, I guess they got double Doctor Doom, which is quite strong. Into Doctor Doom again? No, not going to be. That would have been very powerful. But yeah, misplay here. I forgot the Bifrost interaction. Silly me. We do win with the Iron Man there. Not too surprisingly. Alright, let's jump into another game. Okay, what do we have this time? Another Camartage. Okay. Doesn't really benefit us in any way. Gonna just give the opponent some value there. I'd much rather see the... I guess I'll go in the Raft. May as well try to at least have that work in our favor. They're actually going to get rid of Camartage. Interesting. And we're getting a Limbo game. Ooh, that should be pretty good for this deck, honestly. We get a little bit more time and space to assemble our really powerful lines. I guess I'm going to play Mr. Fantastic here. It's a nice draw to have. Juggernaut comes and kind of ruins my vibes. It's a little bit unfortunate. I think I want to keep playing cards here. Go for the Klaw, perhaps. Orca left. Finish with Spectrum. We might miss out on the Raft. Ooh, and the Spectrum now cannot go mid, which is a bit sad. Klaw definitely is good here. Okay, what do we got? Armor coming in. And Quinjet. Well, at least we can win this location, and we can even get that Omega Red value going if we want. This line of play, like a Namor plus an Armor. And then Spectrum finisher. Is that the best I've got, really? This is quite strong, and it gives me a lot of strength that is probably going to be unexpected. I think I will snap here. I might come to regret this snap, but I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot. Oh, I just realized this armor play is really Humpty Dumpty moment, right? This does not work at all because the Spectrum... Oh my god. I'm making so many misplays, Jesus. So I guess the play is just an Orca here and pray that it's enough. Oh man, I'm making a lot of misplays today. Invisible Woman just breaks my brain, apparently. I just completely forget that I can't, I can't buff these up because they're not turned over. So that armor play was a bit silly. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'd probably lose some value. I could have played Orca left and then Spectrum as a finisher. Oh my god, it's Super Scroll. That's a little intimidating. Not sure it'll be enough though. I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot for the opponent. I guess the Klaw is quite strong. Ends up not being enough though. In some way, playing the armor here might have helped. Whatever. What a weird game. I threw it a little bit, but... God, how am I... Okay, whatever. Let's go next. Well, I may be making some mistakes, but still managing to win. That is probably a good sign for the deck on some level. The Killmonger armor anti-synergy is a little cringe here. Hopefully I draw a different 2-drop that I can use. Okay, or just an Elysium. gonna be in play means I might want to maybe just play the lizard and pass. Go for Killmonger armor next turn, perhaps. It's not amazing. Obviously, when they know you have a lizard, they can play in a way that will disrupt that from getting value, which is a bit annoying. Okay, we've drawn Invisible Woman now. What do I want to do with her? Just play her here? Maybe with a Killmonger, perhaps? That could be quite powerful. I don't think I'm going to be able to move cards. So maybe we want to do something along these lines to get the Avengers compound, you know, to be able to play into there with my Iron Man or whatever. Klaw is also quite strong. I mean, I'm going to want to play that at some point. Then again, I mean, there's a Dracula here. It's very difficult for the opponent to know what's going on exactly if I don't reveal cards. I don't show them what I've got. So I think the Klaw is still going to be good because they may choose to move the Dracula. At which point we'll be kind of sitting pretty. Probably go for Iron Man next. There was, I suppose, an argument to play the Omega Red, but it's again a very interesting spot. The Invisible Woman creates some really dynamic, I suppose, situations. I wonder if this is a Hela deck? Is this just a typical discard? It's a bit bizarre that they've got these particular cards working for them. Do we want to just play Spectrum now, honestly? I think so. I think so. I'm a little worried of how this will all interact in the end. But this should be fine, and then we just maybe go for an Iron Man plus armor in the right? Something like that, maybe? Something like that. Okay, so they've got swarms. They've got swarms, and they've got one card, which I guess is... could be anything, really. I can only move the Invisible Woman, which doesn't really benefit me much. I think I just want to go with the armor plus Iron Man finisher here, right? It's 14-point play. I think we want to avoid the Dracula. Then again, we have a lot of power here, actually. I think a play like this looks really good. I don't have a huge amount of power left, but we're going to split our strength quite nicely. Let's see who wins this. I'm not entirely sure who will be the winner. Okay, looks like we're securing the left location, so that's great. I think we've got it in the bag, right? The Dracula's not enabled. And we have a nice bit of Klaw value and Spectrum value coming in at the end, surprising the opponent. No Killmonger value, but that's okay. That's very nice for us. Just a lot of power there. Very hard for the opponent, I think, to deal with what we were doing there effectively. Alright, awesome. Let's go for another. Alright, what do we got here? Gonna be a bit of sewer system action, nothing much to talk about there. Asgard, not something I really benefit from. I will play in that location just because, you know, you want the Invisible Woman typically in middle for the Mr. Fantastic and such. Sometimes I break my own rules there, I suppose. Or I forget that I'm supposed to be doing that, but no worries. Mr. Fantastic next. Don't have a 4-drop at the moment, so I may just end up playing Lizard in a different location, in fact. Maybe Lizard to the left. I think Lizard to the left looks good here. And then follow up with either Klaw or Iron Man. Probably a Klaw. Trying to play for split strength here because they're going pretty heavy on the middle. Ooh, interesting Warpath. And Captain America. This could in fact be a Tribunal deck, if I had to guess. Seems fairly likely. Klaw finish with Orka. Seems a bit of an overcommitment in a way, doesn't it? Seems a bit of an overcommitment. Perhaps the Lizard should have gone right, actually, and the Orca left, but hey-ho. I make mistakes sometimes. I suppose I can do Iron Man into Spectrum as well. As a pretty solid play. I'm not sure that'll win the game. Kind of want to play the Orca out at the end, right? Tricky, tricky. Maybe Klaw and Spectrum is the sort of halfway house approach. Okay, this is really good for me. Let's do a snap on that. We've basically won a location already. The power of the Klaw. Nobody expects it. He's snapping me back, dude. Oh my goodness me. Okay, let's think here. What are we gonna go for? Spectrum? How much power do we get? We get plus 6 plus 5, 11 plus a further 6. 17 power. Minus 4. That's a lot of power. I think We should just be chilling out if we play Spectrum here. Yeah, I see that being very good for me. Could also play the Iron Man, but it's sort of a similar amount of strength. And I want that extra couple of points on Lizard just in case, I think. Oh! Cosmo against my Spectrum, no way. It's still gonna win. It's quite funny. I guess, yeah, I mean, Cosmo kind of gets me. But the power of Klaw, I mean, what a card. So much better than Doom in some ways, right? Very nice. Okay, next game. Definitely seemed like the opponent was playing very much around Hela with the Invisible Woman, you know. Kind of makes you think that that is what the opponent's playing, but we're not doing that at all. What is going on with the cards here? Okay, there we go. Yeah, we don't care so much about Cosmo. Of course, on Spectrum it can do something. I think this location is pretty fine for me. The Lamentus. I've got a decent curve. This is sort of where my deck is fairly comfortable in. These sorts of positions. We're going to be up against some high evolutionary though, which is a pretty formidable deck, of course. Pretty formidable, pretty powerful stuff, particularly when they get the Moor Island buffs going. Kill's really good for me. I'm going to snap here, I think. Kill's really good for me. I mean, we have Klaw. It's not the best thing ever, because I would probably want to play Namor in there. I guess we can go Klaw left, Spectrum middle to finish. Something like that. Could be okay, although I'm going to lack Moor Island value, which kind of sucks. Also, potentially just Namor and Klaw middle. And then, you know, depending on what the opponent does, like, we can probably win the kill. If there's an Enchantress, though, we'll be in trouble, so maybe I should play the Namor there just to at least pressure the location a bit. I think I will. They're probably going to also play there, so... Just take the pretty obvious play. Okay, so Dracula, I think the obvious move for us now is just Klaw. I've already snapped. Klaw into, well, either Orca or Spectrum, depending on whether or not we're afraid of this Dracula. I think... Should I be afraid? I feel like if I Spectrum, I'm just sort of winning against pretty much everything, no? How do we lose this game? We lose this game by the opponent playing a card that wins them one location and then the Dracula being enough. If I Spectrum, we will pretty much, apart from against an Enchantress maybe, win the right. We should be winning the left as well at that point. I think I like the Spectrum play here, just to be a little cheeky about it. They can't play Hulk and something else, so we've got a really decent amount of points mid. I think we should be fine here to go for that play. They're just playing a Giganto in the left, okay. And a pretty big Hulk discard, but not going to be enough, of course, to outpower the Namor. So pretty cheeky win there. That was nice. Let's go for another. Okay, let's get into one last game, shall we? Gonna be Moor Island. Popping up. Probably going to have to play armor there. I don't really want to miss out on the value of that location. Pretty straightforward. Negative zone's interesting. We might want to play Orca there at some point. The Space Throne as well, though. Pretty good one for Orca. Pretty good for Namor as well, honestly. I think I've got to play Lizard in the left again because of Moor Island. Even though the opponent can, of course, negate the strength there in some way. Iron Man's really strong left, with Omega Red. It's also pretty considerable amount of power. Kind of am tempted to go for that line into just an Orca and presume that we win the left by a considerable amount of power. I could go for more of a hedging line of play if we wanted, with a Namor here, or a Namor right even, perhaps. An Orca, that kind of thing. I do think the Omega Red line here is pretty strong, so I'm going to go for it. Just because of Moor Island giving us that extra Iron Man value. We'll get to see whether or not this Dracula is actually popping off. I think I'm going to snap on this. It seems pretty good for me. I can even go with Spectrum as well if we need even more power in Moor Island. But I think just getting the win there and then dropping an Orca mid or something is... How are you going to beat that realistically, right? I am Iron Man. MODOK coming in. Okay. Apocalypse is 12 currently. We'll see what else they've got. Ooh, Hela deck actually. Well, that's perfectly fine. We're Not going to worry too much about that. They've got basically just one random 6-drop at most. I think we are very fine to play the Orca here and win. So much power in the left, it's ridiculous. I could just give up the Dracula location. I could probably also contest it with the Orca if we wanted to, but yeah, there's no way they're winning this game. I'll be taking my cubes very happily. Awesome stuff. Actually, a very cool deck, guys. I managed to climb quite a few cubes with this one. Seemingly pretty powerful. Didn't really get much Killmonger value. That's a card you can, of course, choose to cut if you prefer. But yeah, great deck. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe as always for more. Bye-bye.